walk softly and carry a big stick. I think that was Teddy Roosevelt, right? And he wasn't talking about motorcycles. But I think if there was a living embodiment of walking softly and carrying a big stick, this would have to be it. In recent videos, I got comments about this bike in particular and some of my thoughts. And even though I've done a video about this as a practical sport bike, I'm gonna go in detail about how I've got my bike set up, what I use, as far as mounts for my cameras and stuff, and talk about that and some of my storage options that I have and everything. But yeah, so the ZX-14R. I got this bike a little over 2 years ago. I had been looking at them since the early 2000s, and I just never got one. I always wanted one, and then as we got into the 2020s, I knew that they were not going to be around much longer, and I thought, I'm going to nab one of these things because these bikes will go the way of the Dodo probably this year, if they haven't already. I know they've stopped them in Europe. So it's just a bike that I always wanted, and it does not disappoint. And I'm going to talk about why I like this bike and what I use it for. And right off the bat, I think the first thing to understand or to know about this is, even though it looks like a sport bike, it is certainly not a sport bike in the sense of a carving canyon machine or a canyon carving machine. It is it's no slouch, but it's definitely no 600. But as an open road machine, I've not been on its equal. As far as its comfort and the way it fits me, and I know it's a very personal thing about motorcycles, is that, some guys can fit on some bikes and some guys can't. And this one just happens to fit me like a glove. In fact, the only thing I've really done to it to change how it feels to me as a rider is I've added 1-inch risers here. As far as the bar position and everything, they're the same. They're just up and back 1 inch. And that made me, it just did a ton of good things for me. The second thing about this motorcycle in particular is, walking softly, carrying a big stick. I wanted, I have been on bikes with loud pipes for quite a while. I started losing my hearing about 3 years ago, and it got worse when I got sick with cancer. And I had to do everything I can to protect my hearing. So when I bought it, it actually had a, I think it's a Brox titanium and carbon fiber 4-in-1 race exhaust. I mean, those things are like $4,000. And I asked the guy, I said, do you have the stock mufflers? He goes, yeah, I took them off the day I bought it. And I said, well, I want those too. And so I got home, and the first thing I did is I put it back to stock, with one exception. ZX-14Rs do not come with a center stand. But I wanted this because I travel, and if I need to pull over to the side of the road and oil the chain or work on the bike, you don't have a stand with you, and so it's a little, there's a fairing that goes down here that covers most of this, but you have to take that off. But for the change up, to have a center stand that I can put this on, it's amazing. Also, I've covered my motorcycle trailer that I built for this, and having the center stand is absolutely, I wouldn't say necessary, but it's beneficial, because I can put this on the center stand and just, hook the trailer right up to it. Fast and simple. And speaking of the trailer, my the options I have for traveling. I bought this bike because, like the C14 before it, I want to travel back up into the mountains of Georgia, the Carolinas, and Tennessee as often as I can. And I wanted a bike that was a little less of a footprint than the C14 when doing it, but I also wanted to be able to take my stuff up there. So of course I had the trailer, which I call my heavy lift. You know, I can put a trailer in here and have something on, I think it's 200 liters of storage. It's a big trailer. Or I can put soft bags on here and do a, you know, I did a week and a half long trip this past summer, and it's fine for that. And then, like, if I'm doing a day trip like this is what I call my moto vlog setup. This is basically a bicycle handlebar bag I've had for like 15 years, and it's just enough to put, you know, cameras and stuff into, glasses, my hat, and it just sits on the passenger foot rest. There's the foot peg, and there's a little heel rest back under here. I don't know if you can see that, but you know, it just sits there and goes along with me. I can put water in there, whatever. So that does a world of good, because there's just no storage anywhere on a ZX-14R normally. So I've got this, and I've got the trailer, and then my bags, and so I can set up to go, you know, anyhow I want. And that kind of is what I wanted with this bike. I wanted something that I could be very versatile with, but still have a fun bike when I get there. My camera settings that you see, it's shot right through there. I mean, that's it. That is the main setup, and it's rigid. I mean, you can see it's attached to the bike, and with stabilization on, you get that super smooth action. I have a ram mount here for a camera I can put on this side or that side, and that captures the windshield and most of the motorcycle. And I don't know if you can hear this, but if you've never had a Kawasaki, this is what they do. They whistle at you when you stop in a hot day, and they're just sucking air in. So that's that. The ZX-14R, I tell you, it's not for everyone. Definitely wouldn't have been for me 20 years ago. It demands respect, and that's what I like about it, and it keeps me humble. And I you know, I get out there and twist it up every now and then, but I don't do like I used to. In fact, it's such a fine machine. And you know, and I know a lot of guys, they'll talk about bikes with character. And you know, I see some of these new bikes coming out, like the Royal Enfields and stuff, and I love those. And I think when I finally get off this bike, I'm probably going to go down into a bike about half this displacement. You know, in a bike with what they call character. And you know, while I agree with that, I would argue that the C4 or this bike, the character it carries is on the seat, and what this bike does to the person on the seat when you're riding it is pretty influential, I would say. It's just a fine machine. Bulletproof engine, bulletproof transmission, bulletproof suspension, bulletproof brakes. This one year in particular was the one I wanted because it was a 2016 special edition. It's got the Brembo monoblock calipers, and then it's got stainless steel brake lines stock. I mean, it comes equipped, and I would say that the brakes are really good, but it's, again, you know, it's not a 380-pound sport bike, but then again, it's not a 700-pound sport touring bike either. It's somewhere in between it, and on its feet, it's just an amazing ride. You know, and speaking of that, this weekend I was going to go up to Daytona Bike Week, but instead I decided to do my spring work on this bike. I just installed a new set of tires, did an oil change, air filter, you know, chain complete cleaning out, and then repack and lubed again. And it's just, I tell you, every time I get on this bike, it's like I have a new motorcycle, and it's just something I absolutely love. I am probably going to be taking this back up into the mountains here later this summer, or I might go late spring. But yeah, it's a fantastic bike. And if you're thinking about getting one, by the way, I'm not sponsored. I'm not trying to sell anybody one of these things, but I've heard through the grapevine that they are drying up, and once they're gone, the prices, I believe, will start going up on bikes that are kept in good shape. I think this bike, being stock as it is, probably will hold its value pretty well for what it is. So yeah, if you're thinking about one, you might want to go grab it. But how about I put this camera back on the bike and we take a ride, and I'm gonna just narrate what I feel when I'm out there and let you guys ride along with me. All right, guys, so hopefully I've got these cameras hooked back up right. It's so bright out here I can't see. By the way, today is March 8th, and I know some of you guys up north are still in the throes of a cold winter. I don't mean to rub this in your face, but it's 86 degrees out here already. But I think we got another cold snap coming, but today was just a good day to go ride. So yeah, the 14's dash, as you can see, love the gauges. I hate the dash because in sunlight you cannot see all the information up here, and it's so small. But if that's my biggest gripe, I'll take it, because I love the gauges. And just so you know, they work. Watch. So we're live, and I'm just going to point it out, you guys. So right here is 35, 40, that's 50, that's 110, 180, 190. So you're not going to see that if I'm riding, especially if I'm filming. All right, so just the parking lot manners of this thing are just insane. It is a planted bike. There's, and I think what a lot of people think about a ZX-14R, and let me shut my visor so this, hopefully you can hear this okay. People that haven't really ridden a ZX-14R probably think that they're abrupt or ill-mannered, and I would just say there's nothing could be farther from the truth, with one caveat. You have to be super smooth on all your controls, and I think that's true with most motorcycles, but with a bike like this that has a lot of power, you have to rewire your brain. You don't need as much throttle as you think. Now, and you'll also notice when I shoot these videos, I'm very conscious of the video being made. I'm conscious of audio, what the camera's seeing, and all bikes have a little buzz in the frame, and the ZX-14R will shake this camera just a little bit around 5,000 RPMs, and so I'm always, when I'm shooting, I'm always in these lower RPMs like this. I don't normally ride like this, lugging it at 2,000 RPM, but when I'm making a video, that's a different thing. And so right now the camera is very stable, and the bike is very stable, and I'm in sixth gear at 40 miles an hour, and this thing, it'll just go. I know a lot of people think that sport bikes don't have any torque, but you would be surprised. I think this thing comes in at 116 foot-pounds and 193 horsepower stock. And the guy that had this did some stuff to it. It's got the two-stage power commander. It'll run race fuel if you want to, but I've got all that turned off, and just running it stock, and it's more than enough. I mean, my goodness, if you need more than a ZX-14R, you need to get off the road. But the thing that I like about it the most is its manners, like right here. Now, it's solid, high speed winds, This is one of the most stable bikes I've been on. It's just a very polite bike as long as you have the discipline to do it. You know, once you start getting up in the rev range, this bike moves. But everything else about it is just great. And if I have one complaint, it's really about all the Japanese sport bikes over 600 cc's, especially when they come with, you know, the 190/50 and a 120/17 tire. What a horrible combination. I mean, the steering inputs are, it feels like a cruiser bike almost. I mean, it's not neutral at all. And I'm picky about neutral steering. Some people don't notice it, but then I know some of you guys do. The first thing I do to any leader bike that I've had, and my sport touring bike as well, the C14, and this bike, get that 190/50 off and put a 190/55 on, and then it just becomes, it feels like a 300-pound lighter bike. It's just so smooth. You know, the gearbox is really good. Kawasaki's gearboxes, especially for these 14s, are known for their smoothness. This is not quite as smooth as my C14, but that thing is just butter. I mean, just butter gearbox. Hydraulic clutch, of course, hydraulic brake. Yeah, I love it, you know. And, you know, as far as taking it on trips, you know, people are talking to me about, hey, yeah, that might be nice in the curves and everything, or on the straights, but how could you know, do a few hundred miles? And I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I do it. I mean, my first trip on this bike was 15 hours in the summertime at 90 degrees heat, and I had just come out of cancer treatment, and I woke up the next day, I didn't have any aches or pains from the bike, you know. So it's just one of those things, you just have to try it and see how it fits. And so the next thing about this is maintenance. I recently got a comment, and a guy said that, you know, he didn't really get sport bikes because they just seem like a real pain in the butt, you know. Said if you drop it, it's just going to scratch it all up. And well, that's true of any bike. And he said that you can't work on them. And it's ironic he said that, because I remember the first sport bike I got, I thought the same thing. And you know, I've said it before, I grew up, I had to take everything apart the minute I got it. I had to figure it out. I am not happy to have something I don't know how it works. And so, you know, every bike I've gotten, whether it was the FC1, the C14, or this bike, the minute it gets home, the first thing I do is get the owner's manual and have a seat at YouTube and watch videos and begin to learn how to get at the various parts of the engine and stuff. And, you know, I know they look complicated, like you can't get to anything, but you can have these plastics off. I believe I did it in about 30 minutes, and that included the entire front end, the headlamp assembly, the gauges, all of it gone, down to a gigantic monoframe. And the other thing about sport bikes like this, the engine is a stressed member, so there's no frame underneath it or around it. Once all that stuff's off, your access is easy to do. Saturday I spent about 4 or 5 hours. I haven't worked on this bike in a while. It's been hard for me to kneel down and get on my knees and stuff, but I set out to change tires. I've been changing tires on my bikes by myself for 12 or 13 years, but it is getting harder. And it's funny because I figured I could do it in about 2 hours. I've done it as fast as an hour before, you know, but not trying to go fast. It just went real good one time. But I was out there for like 4 hours, and my wife came home and she got mad at me. She's like, "Why are you still doing this?" And I said, "I don't know what it is. you know, there's a relaxation in it. I don't know about you guys. Put me a note in the comments if you're like this. I love working on my bike. I love having that familiarity, knowing that things are done right, or if they're done wrong. I mean, if I've done it wrong, at least I know, and I won't lie to myself and say, yep, you're good to go. You know, I know what I'm riding on, and that to me is the most important thing. Outside of actually riding, the support of the bike being in my hands is one of the things that I still love to do, and I know there'll come a day where I'm not going to want to do it. But you know, for now, I know some places will charge $800 for a good set of sport bike tires put on, because that's what that last place I went to up in Georgia charged $859 for some Pilot Powers, which was ridiculous, because you know, at that time I could buy those tires for $400 and put them on for nothing. So when I told my wife I saved $400, she said, okay, you go ahead and bust your knuckles up and break a sweat, bust your knees, do all that stuff.